Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Abhi, and in today's video I'll be reviewing Hit the First Case, starring Viswak and directed by Dr. Sailesh Kolanu. So I want to start off by giving a brief summary of the film's plot. Hit's story revolves around Vikram, played by Viswak, who is a police officer in the Criminal Investigation Department on the Homicide Intervention Team. And Vikram is a very smart and sharp officer who is able to solve cases at ease. And along with Vikram, the other two main leads in this film are both Neha and Rohit. Neha is played by Rohini Sharma and is Vikram's girlfriend and forensic specialist. And Rohit is Vikram's friend who accompanies Vikram throughout the entire investigation that takes place in this movie. So a lot of the movie focuses on Vikram's PTSD and the traumatic history that caused it, and also how that affects his work on the force. And in the beginning of the film, as recommended by his therapist, Vikram reluctantly takes a break from the force until his girlfriend Neha gets kidnapped. So Vikram then asks to rejoin the force, and due to personal reasons, he cannot handle Neha's case. However, he does look into the cases that Neha had previously worked on before she was kidnapped to see if she can find some sort of clue that could lead him to her kidnapper. And he eventually finds a separate missing case of a girl named Preeti, and through certain forensics, he finds a link between the two cases. And so Vikram takes up Preeti's case in an attempt to find Neha, and essentially the rest of the film follows Vikram as he tries to find the culprit. Firstly, I love how the creators of the film properly portrayed PTSD throughout the film and used it as a powerful narrative tool to develop Vikram's character. I really like the way that the creators of this film used Vikram's PTSD triggers to go back into his traumatic history and his past. A lot of the flashback scenes of Vikram's life are not told in one single flashback. Instead, they're kind of dispersed throughout the film. And the way they're dispersed throughout the film is that whenever Vikram encounters something that has happened previously in his past, the film will go straight into a flashback. And I thought that was a really interesting way to tell the story. And I really appreciated how the entire film felt like a real criminal investigation, where the main characters use a wide array of forensics in their investigation, and how the list of suspects are ever changing, whether they're increasing or decreasing, and generally the number of suspects misleads the audience into thinking who the culprit was. This back and forth and this aspect of the film really kept me engaged throughout. I also thought that the cinematography in this film was wonderful. There's one chase scene in particular that I thought was shot really well and provided a lot of excitement. I also thought in the limited action scenes, the choreography was done very realistically, as the hits were hard and visible. There weren't any absurd movements that deterred from the film's focus that you may see in a typical commercial film. Coupled with the cinematography, I thought Vivek Sagar's score was just brilliant in this film. I've been a really big fan of his work, and I believe that both him and Thaman are probably the best music directors in Telugu right now. Typically, we are used to seeing him do nice melodious tracks, like in movies like Pelli Choopulu, Samohanam, and Ee Nagaraniki Yemaindi. But this time, his score was a lot more unnerving, causing more suspense and anxiety. And again, this is very uncharacteristic from a lot of his past work. And I could just remember when I watched this movie in theaters back in early March before all the theaters closed because of Corona. But I just remembered I was sitting there with literal like butterflies in my stomach because of his score. I mean, it's very intense and eerie, and in scenes where Vikram is experiencing PTSD and kind of going through those episodes and music intensifying, it was quite the experience. And I think this is really one of Vivek Sagar's best works. And the two songs that he composed for this film are also very nice and songs that I listen to regularly, but for me, I think the highlight of his score was just the background. So the background music was just great in this film. I thought the performances by the main leads in this film were fantastic. In particular, I thought Viswak did a really brilliant job as Vikram. I loved his previous work in Ee Nagaraniki Yemaindi, and in this movie he lived in his role as Vikram, accurately and convincingly playing a police officer suffering from PTSD. You can really see the wear and tear in Vikram, and a lot of that was due in part to Viswak portrayal of him. I think Viswak brought a dark aura to the character that was very much needed for a police officer who has suffered a very intense traumatic past. And I think his darkness and what he provided to the character is what really established the tone of the film. And so overall, I thought Viswak just did a brilliant job in this movie. I also really enjoyed Ruhani Sharma's performance as Neha. Even though her role is limited and she doesn't have much screen time, I thought she did a good job. I also saw her previous work in Chila So and enjoyed her there, and I think she has a really promising career in the Telugu industry. And another actor that I really liked in this movie was Murali Sharma, who played Inspector Ibrahim. I also thought that the pacing in the film was excellent. The film runs for about 2 hours, yet because we're so engrossed in the story and the characters, it feels like you're in the movie for a much longer time, which made the entire film really engaging. Now moving on to some of the things that I didn't like about the film. Even though I liked some of the main leads in the movie, I thought that the rest of the characters were either very cartoonish or one-dimensional. Specifically, there's a character named Abhilash who is Vikram's colleague, and it's established that both Vikram and Abhilash dislike each other for some reason. Yet there really isn't much depth to the character, and the backstory between Vikram and him is not established in the film. And most of the times he appeared on the screen, he was very annoying and came off very cartoonish. And there are many more instances in this movie with characters like Abhilash who are just very one-dimensional, and it really contrasts from the general grounded tone of this movie, and especially when you compare those performances to the likes of Viswak, it just all feels very out of place. But I also think this is a fault of the writing. If these little characters were written better, I think the movie as a whole would have benefited a lot more. Outside of the characters and the acting, I do wish the film had a bigger budget. I think this film could have still maintained its grounded tone with more scale and more stakes. And I know this is completely out of the creator's control, but I just wanted to mention it because I think the film definitely could have benefited from it, but this is less of a complaint, but more of a nitpick. Now, Hit definitely left a lot to be uncovered in Vikram's story, and with that amazing cliffhanger, there are going to be more movies in the Hit franchise, with Hit the Second Case coming out hopefully in 2021. Overall, this movie excels with a freshly told narrative and excellent cinematography. And for me, the highlights of this movie were definitely Vivek Sagar's score and Viswak Sen's acting, and not to mention Sailesh Kolanu in his directorial debut did a fantastic job as well. This movie is a great step in the right direction for Telugu cinema and will serve as the foundation for a great bankable franchise in the future. And my rating for Hit the First Case is an 8.5 out of 10. If you love crime dramas and you love Telugu movies, I definitely recommend you watch it on Amazon Prime. Thank you for sticking through till the end of the video. This is the first video of many to come on this channel, and going forward I'll be making more video reviews and video essays about the Telugu film industry and other Indian film industries. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and drop a comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thank you.